Chess960, otherwise known as freestyle chess or Fisher Random, is the most popular variant of chess. It is a game where the back rank of a chess set is shuffled. This variant is unique because of how it follows chess principles, but give more freedom and creativity in the opening phase. It is commonly known as the possible future of chess. As a chess lover, I attempted to learn the basics of this variant on YouTube and on other social media and search engines, but I failed because of the little resource that can be found. From this experience, I gave myself a goal. I want to create a series of Chess 960 tutorials that will grow to become the best guide for intermediate players on the entire YouTube platform. So, after hours of deep engine analysis of 50 random positions, I selected from the total of 960 positions. I concluded 5 principles that can help you get a good start in a game of Chess 960. You can get a good positioning of pieces and ensure your king's safety so that you don't lost in the first few moves. Opposite of that, you might even get the opportunity to win the game as fast as 9 moves or even less. However, this video is mainly about general principles. So in order to master this variant, you would need more experience and analysis. Now let's dive right into the 5 most important principles you should follow in freestyle chess. Rule number 1, check for unprotected pawns. In standard chess, all the pawns is protected in the starting position. However, this is not always the case in Chess 960. When you begin a game, first look through all 8 of your pawns to see if there are any pawns that are not protected. For example, in this position, position number 885, the G and H pawns are both hanging. However, the H pawn would prove to be much more vulnerable as it can be immediately attacked by the white queen. So in this case, white can play pawn to c4 to activate the queen. Indeed, this is one of the top choices of the computer. Rule number 2, your first move should be a pawn move going 2 squares, usually c to f, that activates 2 or more pieces simultaneously. In this case, the move c4 is again approved by the rule as a good move. This opens up both the queen and the bishop, and its advancement secures control over the central square d5. Rule number 3, castle early unless your king can be easily threatened after you castle. Again, in this position, white immediately takes action to castle after bringing out both knights. Now the white king is safe behind 3 pawns and 2 knights, and white can create play in the center. In position number 613, you can actually play short castle on move 1. This move is actually very logical because it protects the h2 pawn, which is previously unprotected. Another reason to playing short castle is the follow-up pawn f4, a move opening up the queen and rook and taking control of the center. However, always check to see if there are any threats on your king. Let's say if both of black's bishops is pointing toward the king's side, and the queen can be quickly activated to create a threat, it would be extremely dangerous. Oftentimes, if both bishops are positioned close to the center or in the center, it's safe to castle because the long diagonals can't be taken advantage of quickly. In this rather extreme example, position number 592, white can begin with the obvious move c4 to open up 3 pieces at once and target h7. Now, early castling would lead to a quick loss in less than 10 moves. White can follow up with queen to c2, threatening checkmate actually, and activating the queen, creating a queen-bishop battery. Pawn to g6 is the only move that is logical, as knight to g6 would result in h4. The brilliant move pawn to c5 restricts all activity in the black position and opens up the b3 g8 diagonal for white. Then afterwards, g4 to open up the rook and b4 to open up the bishop on a 1 follows. In order to block the weak dark squared long diagonal, black builds up the f6 e5 pawn chain. However, queen to b3 and pawn to g5 tears apart the black position. All 4 pawns in front of the black king is under fire, and the rook f7 is under immense pressure as well. The black troops are still under the restraints of his own pawns and cannot help defend the position. Rule number 4, never block up your queen. Bring it into the center and reroute it for better positioning. For example, in position number 6, white naturally begins with pawn to a4. After pawn to e5 by black, one of white's major tasks is playing b3 and then d4 to get the queen into the center. If black doesn't play perfectly here, white can quickly grab hold of an advantage. The queen on d2 is by far superior to the queen on a8. Rule number 5, gain space with correct pawn play. The following game was played between world number 1 Magnus Carlsen and top 3 GM Hikaru Nakamura in the Freestyle Paris Grand Slam. This game ended in a draw. As we can observe, Hikaru built a pawn wall to grab the center for black over the course of 20 moves. Pawns are correctly positioned and well supported, ensuring the safety of his slightly vulnerable king. This is a hard task to achieve, even for top players like Hikaru. What we can do is try to make sure that we advance pawns into the center and hold control over the position as long as we can protect the pawns safely. In all pawns, the queen and the king, and the stability of your position is what you need to worry about the most in a game of chess 960. After understanding these principles, try to play in a few games and learn to use these rules with flexibility. This is the first video of my series of Chess 960 tutorials, and later videos will include more detailed explanations on pawn structures, piece placement, and attacks on all three sides of the board. If you feel that this video helped you, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment whatever you want to ask or what you want to tell me. Enjoy playing.